So yeah, wasn't planning for my first video to be a massive rant. I was thinking more like, oh, I'll do something to introduce myself. I'll do something more interesting than someone ranting. But no, I read a book, or most of a book. I got 72% of the way through, which is about 200 pages, and had to give up because I realized I was skipping entire chapters. But I still have a lot to talk about, don't worry. That is Me and Earl and the Dying Girl by Jesse Andrews. Bit of background. I was already on thin ice with Jesse Andrews because I read his book The Haters, and ironically, hated it. That was garbage. I think I like it more though, purely because I gave them both the same rating. They're both 0.5 out of 5 stars, which is low to say the least. I've never gone lower than that because at that point, why bother? But I finished The Haters. I did not finish Me and the Dying Girl. I have some things to say about it, mostly just because I was like, I have pretty similar reading taste to a lot of people that I follow and am friends on Goodreads. I've looked at their reviews. I saw 2 out of like a dozen or so that were lower than 3 stars. Some people gave this shit 5 or 4 stars. So sorry if you like this book, but you don't want to stay here because I didn't, to say the least. It might be one of, if not my least favorite book I've read so far this year. And I've read some books I have not liked this year. But with most of them, I can see why people like them. Like, I had reread The Selection and hated it. But I totally get why people like it. I do not understand people like this. And I'll get into that. This is also, nothing is going to be non-spoilerish about this. Why bother? This is going to be filled with spoilers. Because, I mean, to be fair, it's kind of spoiled the book. It's right in the synopsis. It's that a dude and his friend Earl becomes friends with girls with leukemia. It ends exactly how you think it's going to end. That's what we got our protagonist, Greg, or Me, as he's called on the cover. Oh my god, he was so annoying. And I read The Mortal Instruments. You know how annoying Clary is. I would much rather reread that entire series solely from her perspective than read another page of this. Because he's meant to be this awkward, funny, relatable guy, but he's just annoying. His jokes are never funny. Because they're meant to be kind of sad and awkward, but still funny. They're not. They're just sad and awkward. Next is Earl, as you can see. I'm 100% sure that when crafting the character of Earl, Jesse Andrews googled edgy black teen boy and just wrote that. Because that's all he is. He's a complete racial stereotype in every way. I don't know if it's ever described that he's African American, but he clearly is on the cover. The N-word is used very often by him and his brothers. And, you know, he lives in a rundown house. His brothers are criminals. He's basically a criminal. He's been swearing and smoking since age 10, etc., etc. It's every racial stereotype you can think of for, like, a 15-year-old African-American boy. And that's kind of it. Then we get to the last one. Rachel, the dying girl. As I said, I got over 70% of the way through. I still don't know what her personality is. Let me list things that we know about her. She has leukemia. She likes hot actors, such as Hugh Jackman and Daniel Craig, by the way. I did not know that people found Daniel Craig extremely attractive. Like, attractive enough to have a picture of him in underwear in their room. That's just a little note, I didn't know that was a thing. What else? She's awkward. She's Jewish. She has a lot of pillows in her room. That's all that we know about her. She doesn't have a personality, which means that whenever she does anything, or, like, responds to a situation in some way, we don't know why. Like, towards the start of the book, with Greg, to finally convince her to hang out with him, he's like, oh, I've had a crush on you since forever. And then she goes, okay, you can come over. We don't know why, though. Does she pity him? Does she also like him? Has she just been endeared by him? We don't know why she likes him now. Earl, at least, had character. He was a complete stereotype, but we got to see who he was as a person. I don't know who Rachel is. And he's meant that she's one of the leads. She's the dying girl. And the fact that I got over 200 pages in, I got there. That's how far I got in. And I don't know anything about her. Greg's family. They're a middle-class family with a couple of quirks. That's it. Earl's family. Also quirky, but they're also racial stereotypes. Mr. McCarthy, the teacher. Also quirky. This book is just so full of needless quirkiness. Not only that, but quirkiness that doesn't exist. Like, as you read it, you're like, people don't act like this. And sure, maybe one person will, but not everyone in this kid's life. Yeah, all the characters were quirky for the sake of being quirky. One exception. Madison. But she's not quirky, she's just there to be a pair of boobs. You think I'm kidding? Her boobs are talked about a lot, as are many other girls' boobs, which I'm fine with in theory and principle, but in practice it was just kind of uncomfortable, because they're described the way a 12-year-old boy thinks a 16-year-old's boobs are. As I said, there isn't really a plot, which is fine in theory, but the whole point of a plotless book is that, okay, Jesse Andrews got one thing right. You need something to link the whole book together. You need an overarching thing. Its overarching plot is Rachel and her sickness. He did that fine. The other problem is, for a plotless book to work, you need character. You need a lot of characterization, you need character moments. And when you don't care about the characters, it doesn't work. At all. So, I understand plot might work for some people who care about characters, but I thought they were all so unbelievably... They were just blandness with a few quirks thrown in. Which is fine for, like, a TV show on ABC Me that's 15 minutes long an episode and is directed at 12-year-olds. This is young adult fiction that is over 200 pages long. It needs to have more than that. It's also, it's not as if it's short. It's not, like, ridiculously long or anything, but hang on, it clocks at 295 pages. I got over 2/3 of the way through, and the characters were still bland. I didn't really know anything about most of them. At that point, I should know something, unless it's being held back for an artistic reason, which it very clearly wasn't. It was just lazy character, like, development. I have two things in this. The first one is style. I would say, I'm sorry to Jesse Andrews if this isn't the case, but to me it was very obvious that Jesse Andrews was trying to copy John Green. I do not think John Green is perfect, for the record. I have serious problems with a lot of his books. But his writing style has always been something I have enjoyed to an extent. Jesse Andrews is trying to replicate it, and he's failing. Not only that, he's trying to replicate early John Green. He is trying to replicate Looking for Alaska, A Bunch of Catherine's John Green. He's not even aiming for the highest John Green. Which makes sense, because this book was published in 2012, same year as Fault in Our Stars, which is when I think John Green's writing got really good. But I've read The Haters, which came out in 2016. That's no excuse. He's still copying the same... He's copying John Green at his worst. Language in general and the use of it, it was really bad. The crude jokes also seemed to be stolen from early John Green, specifically Looking for Alaska. But they didn't really work in Looking for Alaska either, but they worked even worse in this. A big problem is that Jesse Andrews couldn't decide if he wanted to go balls to the walls offensive or not. So he would just kind of not even sprinkle it throughout, it was used quite often. Every couple pages, at least, there would be some incredibly inappropriate comment about, oh, Nazis, or pedophilia, or something homophobic, or racist, or sexist, or objectifying. So, but at the same time, I don't mind that in books, necessarily. I don't mind that in fiction. I love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. But It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia commits. This book was not committing at all. Pretty much just Google quotes from this book and you'll find some great ones. Few examples I'll give you, just reading off the laptop. The point of that, by 7th period, he's been exposed to 4 hours of grinding stupidity and he wants to slit his wrists. A personal favourite of mine is, so the rich kids aren't the alpha group of the school. The next most likely demographic would be the church kids. They're plentiful and they are definitely interested in school domination. However, the strength, the will to dominate, is also their greatest weakness because they spend so much time trying to convince you to hang out with them, and the way they try to do this is by inviting you over to their church. We've got cookies and board games, they say, or that sort of thing. We just got a Wii set up. Something about it always seems a little off. Eventually you realise these same sentences are also said by child predators. And those aren't bad on their own necessarily, but they're so constant it just gets annoying and frustrating. It's almost as if Jesse Andrews isn't comfortable with writing it, which is what really got me. He doesn't seem like he knows how to make the joke funny, he's kind of just adding it. So he needs to figure that out, because as I said, he had the same problem with The Haters. That's the big thing, is that this book, I wouldn't think it's as bad if I knew he'd rectified some of the mistakes of this, but he hasn't. He has stayed the same, because I read The Haters first, because I thought it was a book I would enjoy. Actually, I thought it was a different book when I bought it. Actually, I have a personal favourite passage. I'm going to read the whole, maybe not the whole thing, but... actually, I'm not going to read the whole thing, because it's many pages, but it's many pages of biphobia, basically. This is Earl. So you can be heterosexual or homosexual, and I feel like I understand that. But like you're a woman in a man's body or some shit. But I've been thinking about it, and how the fuck can somebody call themselves bisexual? Man, ain't nobody like that fine ass girl is making me harder right now. Oh wait, my mistake. That dude over there is the one that's making me hard. That doesn't make no goddamn sense. And this goes on. Yep. And then it starts joking about, oh, does anything turn you on? Like, dog taking a dump, hard on. Wendy's double cheeseburger, hard on. It's just, and then it keeps going. It just keeps going. And then it's like, oh, we should call ourselves trisexual because we're trying to have sex. It was just so uncomfortable. And I said, that's 5 pages. And I'm like, it's pointless. It doesn't, like, build character or anything. It's the definition of a filler, but it's not funny, and it's just really uncomfortable to read about. That's something I don't get. Everyone that I saw, like, reviewing it was like, oh my god, it's so funny. It's so, like, it's just got really weird sense of humor. Nothing is, don't think I laughed at a single point in this book. Another thing I just hated, it was the word bath is used, like, a couple times a page. It's ridiculous. No one says the word bath that often. Nobody says the word bath at all. Like, they'll say vomit or anything other than that. But it is referred to so often. My final note. So this book is all written from first person Greg's perspective. And it's as if he's writing it. And it has a really cool alternative format, which I actually kind of like. You know, sometimes going to bullet points, sometimes going to, like, scripts, etc., etc. I won't say it's overly original, which everyone else in reviews seem to think. I've read a lot of other books like that, but whatever. And Greg, throughout the entire book, keeps saying, I don't know why you're reading this. It's so dumb of me to be writing this, blah, blah, blah. And, oh, it just got so annoying. But I did chuckle once, because one of the quotes really summed up my thoughts on the book, and that was, you can pretty much take any sentence in this book, and if you read it enough times, you'll probably end up committing homicide. I laughed at that purely because I agreed with it. I did feel like committing homicide. I read the final chapter. She dies. Like, she dies at the end. He says he learns nothing from it, but obviously does, and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. Hopefully the next video will not be so... I don't think I was angry. I've ranted worse. I've been stewing on this for a while, so... hopefully the next video will be actually more constructive. I don't even know. I'll probably... very soon, actually, because I realize it's just the 30th, so... in a couple days, if I do end up uploading this, I will probably upload some sort of, like, wrap-up about books and movies that I've watched this month, talk about them. This will be very brief. I'll probably say, read it, hated it, goodbye, and then throw it somewhere, because I think it would be really cathartic to throw this. Like, subscribe, all that. Bye!